Good morning, writers. Today, we are going to start our very new type of writing. Mrs. Torres told you when we were working the other day in Writers Workshop that we were leaving our show and tell books and going into a new type of writing. So we're going to write not teaching books. You know how our show and tell books were teaching something that we knew a lot about. We were telling our readers something that we knew so much about, and we were telling all the things that we knew about it, right? Well, today we are going to do, like I said, a different type of writing. Today we're going to start writing true stories about our own lives. Yeah, true stories about our own lives. Now, this story right here, Creek Set the Bed, is a story. It's not a teaching book, but some of the things in here might be familiar to your own life because this is a true story about the author's life that she turned into a book. She turned it into a story. So I'm going to read just a little piece of this book to you. And while I read this piece of the book, I want you to see if you can hear how a book that tells a story sounds different from a teaching book. I want to see if you can notice the difference between a book that tells a story and a teaching book. So let's give it a go. Creek Set the Bed. One dark night, in the middle of the night, Mama and Papa were snoring in bed. Squeak went the door. And Evie said, sorry, my camera is backwards to me. And Evie said, I'm scared in my room. Can I come in with you? And Papa said, snore. And Mama said, sure. There's plenty of room for Evie in the bed. So Evie bounced in. Creak, said the bed. What did you see the author doing in this page? I hear characters talking. Did you hear characters talking? We didn't hear characters talking in our teaching books. That didn't happen. This is one way that stories are different from teaching books. This is one way where we can tell a story that really happened in our lives by making the characters talk. Some other things I see them doing, like, right? She said she bounced in the bed. Bounced in that bed. And if I close my eyes, I remember hearing snore. We're hearing sounds and we're feeling what the characters are doing. The bouncing on the bed, the snoring in the bed, the squeak of the door. In stories, some characters talk and we hear what the characters do. We hear all of the things that they say and all of the things that they do. So when I read a story like this, I can picture myself being right in that room. Were you able to picture yourself being right in that room with them? Is this something that maybe happens in your own life? Stories have the power to pull the reader in. Good stories make readers feel like they're right there. I love storybooks like these because they make me feel like I'm actually part of the story. So, writers, today, Mrs. Torres and I want to teach you that one way writers get ready to write true stories is to practice first. And in order to practice first, you have to tell your story. You have to tell a story from beginning to end, telling what the people said and what the people did in your story. So we are going to practice telling stories, true stories about our own lives, just like a person telling a story would tell it. So how about I give you an example of a story that I wrote about my own life. So I want you to listen carefully. Are you listening? Are you focused? Are you turning away from the camera? I didn't think so. You're right here. I know it. So let me tell you a story. Ready? One cool gray evening, the sun was going down, and I was sitting on my couch in my living room, and I happened to glance out the window, and I did a little gasp because I started to see the snow come down. And it was coming down in these huge, big snowflakes. They weren't the tiny ones that you see go like this. They were huge. And as they were dropping, they were kind of splatting on the ground. And it looked beautiful against the gray sky. And a little while later, the ground was covered and it looked like a soft white blanket that I could just lay in, but I know that it would be really cold. And I said to Ben and Olivia, I said, "Hey guys, come look out the window." And they came running and they looked out the window and they jumped up and down. And Olivia actually screeched. "Ah!" And they said, "Mommy, can we go outside and play?" And I said, "Of course, go." And they put on all of their snow gear. They pulled on those snow pants and shoved their feet into those boots. And they grabbed their mittens and put their mittens on and their hats. And they ran outside. And I sat in my cozy, warm house on the couch and I watched them play. And it was so much fun to see them screeching and yelling and rolling around in the snow. And that was a super fun moment for me to watch. It made me very happy. So, writers, I just told you a story and I included things that I said. That's called dialogue when the characters talk. And I included things that Olivia said. And I included sounds and movement. Could you picture them rolling in the snow? I bet you could picture that, right? So, writers, your job today is to tell a story to either me or Mrs. Torres. And then I want you to do your best to write that story down. Do you think you can try writing some of that story down? Draw your picture and write some of what you did. But first, I want you to tell it. It's important for us to tell our stories first before we write them so we know exactly what we are going to write. So think of a story, a true story that happened to you, and record yourself telling it to me and Mrs. Torres. Remember to include what you said and what you did. Okay? Good luck. We can't wait to hear. Have a wonderful day.